Welcome to Honest Convos with Karen.
And Marcia. We're longtime biz besties bringing you along for the journey of building a business and life you actually want.
No fluff, no filters, just honest conversations about the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into it.
Welcome back. We have a great one for you today. Karen kind of called us all out last week and reminded us that in order to have a successful business, you actually have to have revenue, and revenue comes from sales. And so we're going to spend some episodes talking to you all about how to sell. It's going to be covering actual strategies on how to sell and selling without feeling salesy, and then basically ways that you can help automate it. Today's episode is about mindset, and it's reaffirming that selling is not forcing people to give you money for something. You're not a charity. You're not begging people for money. You are exchanging value. You're providing them with something that's going to make their life easier. It's going to take them out of pain. So it's not a transaction, it's an invitation to work with you. Yeah, so I'm really excited because I've been selling officially since I think my early 20s. That was my first sales position. I was selling computer hardware, and I would go to conferences and I would talk with we sold to school systems, and so I would sell them laptop batteries. And so I've done that, and then I was also in fundraising, which is selling, and then my biggest sales was $1,242,000, and that was for a custom home at the builders. And I have the receipts to prove that they went with us because of me. So I'm like, oh my God, I've made over 7 figures in sales. And then anyway, so sales can be really fun, but it also is a very emotional experience, especially if you're a solopreneur and you're the business owner. You can be like, I would rather be working on the operations of the business and all of that, but like you do need to sell. So
Yeah, I mean, sales is essential. Like it's not optional. There's literally no opt out. There's a few things when you own a business that are just non-negotiable. Like people have to have a way to find you and they have to have a way to buy from you. So it's really important, and I'm glad we're talking about it because I feel like, like what Marcia said, like a lot of people will hide from this part and like stay in a comfort zone of creating or operating or doing all the admin or, other things that are not this. And this is the key. You don't have a business without revenue. So and as you were talking, I was kind of thinking, like, what is my history with sales? I started to kind of brainstorm that out when we decided to do this series. But I was like, when I turned 18, I was literally in North Carolina walking around trying to spray people with perfume and get them to buy it. And so I'm like, what job was that? Like, it was just like so interesting to think about, like, what was I doing? But I was trying to sell stuff. So yeah, I have a long history with sales. One of my favorite jobs, actually. I don't know how old I was, maybe 19 or so, but I was selling meat for Colorado Prime. One of my favorite bosses ever, actually. He was so cool. Anyway, he was having an affair with the secretary, though. We all knew it. That's, yeah, juice. Okay, anyways, back on track. um, but like I had to go, like they had appointment setters, people would see the ads or whatever, they would call and make an appointment. And then back in the day, we had no phones. No, I'm literally with a map, like mapping my route to find people's houses. I mean, it's just so crazy to think about this. And I'm dating myself, but anyway, you already know we're in our 40s. It's fine. But I would like I'd knock on the door. I'm like, sure, I would never do this now. I watch too much Oxygen to even think about doing this now. But 19-year-old me was fearless, I guess. But I would like knock on the door, show up. I have my flip chart. I have my little like upsell them. So it was like not just the 6 months or a year worth of frozen meats, but like then I had to upsell, like, okay, now you got the meat, you're gonna need a freezer. Now you're gonna need a grill because you gotta grill your meat, like I mean, it was a whole thing. It's just kind of interesting, like as I'm reflecting back of like I just knew I had to make a living. And I did believe, like, I think the key is like, I believed in the product. That was some of the best steak I ever tasted in my life. So I'm like, you need this steak. Like, what's up? Like, don't shortchange yourself. Your dinners will never be the same. It was very easy because I really believed in the product. Now, not so much with the perfume I was spraying on people coming out of the grocery store, but that didn't last long. I think I did that job for like 2 months, especially when I was on my 18th birthday held hostage in North Carolina because I didn't drive. Okay, anyway, I'm getting off topic. But the point is, sales is essential. I'm really glad we're going to be talking about this, and the way we're breaking it up, I think will help it, because it's a big topic. We just want to make sure we cover it all. And so we're not going to try to do that in this 120-minute episode, but yeah, but it starts with you have to believe in it. And so when you think about why are you not selling, like the mindset around it, do you have to believe like you're helping people. Your product or service is going to change their life. It is going to be the best steak they ever had. And so why would you not sell it? Why would you deny them that beautiful joy?
I love it. Not as a vegetarian, but like the message behind what you're saying. And it's so true because I've had positions where I started out and I started strong. And then I realized that the customer service or the product wasn't that great. And that definitely was something that sat in the back of my mind where I was like, I don't want to sell this nice person this thing because I know that they're not going to get the service that they want. So definitely like making sure that whatever it is that you're selling to people, you feel really good about it. And even, we're not saying that you have to have it all figured out. Like when we launched the Success Secret Society, we didn't have everything mapped out, but we were like, is this something we've done in the past? Do we genuinely care about these people? Are we going to be able to help them in some way? Are we going to help them transform and feel safe and secure and have community and not be isolated? And the answer was yes to all of those. So we've been able to sell that very easily because we believe in it wholeheartedly. When you're not selling in your business and you're not putting yourself out there and having the calls to action. And we did want to clarify too that selling isn't necessarily just a money exchange. It could be selling someone to get on your opt-in. So like getting people to get into your orbit or to go down your rabbit hole of content, as Karen calls it. That is selling as well. And so it's just converting interest into leads and then ideally leads into customers or clients. And so if you're not doing that, if you're hiding, it's not giving you the data that you need to be able to convert people into actual clients. And this is a tough topic. It is really difficult because I think a lot of us, especially as women, like we're not really taught to go out there and sell ourselves. We're taught to nurture, we're taught to help people. And so that's the deep rooted fear I think a lot of us have is people are going to say, "Oh my god, she's only in it for the money, like she doesn't actually care about me. It is a transaction." And whenever you have feelings like that or thoughts like that, that's something that you need to address and just realize like that's part of the conditioning that we all have, that we're supposed to volunteer, that we're supposed to give our time and energy away. And if we don't, we're a bad mom, a bad community member, a bad churchgoer, whatever. And that's not the case. Like if you literally have a product or a service that can help people, it's imperative that you sell it to them. So
Yeah, it reminds me of that. I think I had texted it to you where I was like, every day that I'm not selling, I'm robbing myself. And then, like, you added, like, and you're robbing the people who you should be serving, you could be serving that need what you have. And, like, when you think of it like that, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to get out here and, like, tell everybody all the things. Like, I can't hold it back from them. They need it, and I believe in it. They've got to have it. It is hard. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like it's the easiest thing to do because you want to, when you're going to be selling, you want to be showing up as your best. And sometimes you might not feel at your best, or you want to really be, you don't want to look dumb or be rejected or they're going to judge me. I mean, there's all those thoughts, and that we talked a lot, I think, in the visibility episode, but it's the same with the sales because if you're selling that, I mean, you can't get more visible than that. Like, trying to help someone by introducing them to your product or service. It's a very vulnerable thing to be doing. Like you created something and now you have to put it out there. I mean, it can bring up a lot of different emotions and thoughts. And I think what you said about when you had something that you didn't really believe was going to do what people needed, that you were like, "Well, I don't really want to sell that." And I think it does come from us as consumers, experiencing that a lot. I mean, that's where the whole sleazy used car salesman thing comes from, where they sell you a lemon, but they told you it was the best thing ever. And then you get in and it keeps breaking down. Or those freaking timeshares, like, oh, free trip and da 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 da. And then you just have to sit through this 2 hour, webinar or whatever. And then next thing you know, you're locked into the most ridiculous, not a deal. Like you have literally with a timeshare, this is a side note, I had one before. You literally are locking in your entire lineage into this debt. Like, who does that? I mean, who designed something that does that? It's crazy. So there are a lot of like internal conditioning factors. And then there's also like our experience factors where we've been burned or we've had bad experiences with sales processes and we're like, I don't want to be like that, but I don't know what the alternative is either, right? Like it's like hard, which is where like getting a coach or, joining us in the membership, like you having like a group of people to talk through that with and like really be able to map out your process. Like we have a workshop coming up, we'll talk about at some point, but it's it's really important to not shy away from how you feel around sales and like work through that because again, it's not avoidable. So that's I think what we really want to get through in this episode around like the mindset of selling is that you can't not sell. And so if you have been kind of resisting a sales process and there are ways to automate, we'll talk about later like how to systematize some of the tasks in selling. But if you have been kind of shying away from it in any way, like we're just hoping like you are at least going to get through this episode feeling like validated that it's not like it's nothing wrong with you. Like it's not you. We all have been there, and then just know that it's something we have to tackle cuz you have to sell.
I love that, Karen, because I think a lot of people, it's like the same thing as just emotions. Like people are like, I'm just going to avoid it. And then, I'm a good person. So the right clients are going to come to me and I'm not going to, it's going to have to, I can do like a very soft sell because obviously they know I'm in business. But recently, Facebook said they were getting rid of videos from like a certain amount of years ago or whatever. So I went through the old page and I was like reading comments and this woman was like, "What do you actually do?" And Karen, I was so offended. Like she commented that like in like 2015 or 2016 and I'm like, I knew exactly what I was doing back then, but I was like, but maybe I wasn't communicating it well enough, and I think that was part of the whole selling thing. But when you feel resistance or you're thinking like I just have to do this once a quarter, and I think Karen and I with the membership, we kind of were like, okay, we're going to launch it this way or whatever, but we've been reiterating. We're not reiterating the actual service that we're selling. We're iterating like how we are going to make it available to people. And that's something that I think before I know for me personally, the idea of having like an open cart all the time, I was like, I just couldn't wrap my head around like having to sell all the time, But now that we've actually had it open for a couple months and the doors are open again, it's like, oh, like we're actually selling something that's really beneficial for people. So there's not that fear of like we're not going to be able to produce the results that we want, or not even we're not producing results for people. I guess, providing them with the opportunity to produce their own results. So, whatever you take from that, whatever you want to take from that. But basically, there was a little trepidation with actually selling because we hadn't had this specific opportunity available. But now that the proof is in the pudding, it's going to be easier to sell. So I just wanted to say that when Karen made the point that if you do feel a struggle around selling, if you keep just pushing that away and not actually like working through it, you're just going to keep going back to that. It's like the upper limit issue. You're just going to keep bumping up against that. And that's a really difficult place to be in because the recovery, like once you do close the doors or whatever, the recovery is just, it's really hard. The next episode, we're going to teach you how to sell every day. And that's, not necessarily like sell a VIP day or a high ticket, coaching program or whatever, but basically like how to be making offers all of the time so that you can have these people in your orbit and you can serve them and they can be changing their lives. Big promise, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love big promises, especially because we know we will fulfill on that promise. But yeah, I mean, no one gets to say yes to something they don't know exists. You can't be the best kept secret. You can't be the and I like your point about like maybe like maybe it wasn't clear. Like sometimes we do think like, well, I am out here and it's not happening. Like people aren't, I built it, they're not coming, And that can be a message, issue. And I mean, there's so much that goes into selling that you have to really think about each step of the process. So we'll talk about that later. But the key is that you have to make your offer visible and available, and you have to show up and tell people how you can help them. And you might not even realize how much you're not doing that right now. Like, maybe you're even reflecting right now, like, oh, am I showing up am I making it visible? I think I am, but so really just it's something to think about of like how are you selling now? And where are there some leaks maybe? Like you think that you're doing things a certain way and but if you're not getting the result, there's definitely some sort of a leak or a mismatch that you've got to think about. So sometimes it is like I am putting in effort, like and it's not working. And so that also can help like steer you away from selling if you're like, well, I showed up and nobody wanted it, so oh well, right? And so, but you again, you can't give up. You can't give up on sales because you need sales. So it's just a lot. It is a lot to unpack. And when you're a solopreneur, that's the thing. Like you're sitting with this and dealing with it alone. Like you're the only one. I mean, you're not gonna, sometimes you might have an assistant or someone who works with you, or you have some contractors. Maybe you have a coach, but you're the business. And so it's a lot resting on your shoulders when you are the business and you have to think about all these different things. And this is the main. I mean, if you are, again, I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I think one of the things about women, especially that we talk about, is like we're not like it's bad to want money or it's bad to, need money. We all need money. It's okay. Like we all want money. I want money. I love money. Money is great. It's the one of the best tools that we have to create a great life for ourselves and for other people. I love that we're talking about this because I feel like it's not talked about enough in this context. Like a lot of people will show up and like give you all the tools and like, teach you a new process. That's all great, but if you learn a process that and you still have a lot of internal resistance and you're never going to implement it, well, that's not helpful, right? Like you got to actually do the things. And so that's really what we wanted to talk about in this episode is like how do we work through that resistance and reframe the mindset that you're not taking, you're serving, it's an invitation, it's the best steak or the best, you know, non-steak, other alternative, if you're vegetarian, item that they will ever have. And so why would you not want to give them that joy?
I am cracking up because I'm like, God, Karen can't think of one thing that's not meat. This is why we work, guys. Yeah, I think what Karen said about, the belief that we should be able to get by without money, there was a quote that I heard, bad things don't happen when women have more money. And I was like, bam, like that is such a good motto. And I actually did a Instagram story last week in my car after I arrived at my sister's home. It was her birthday, Dr. T. She got the shout out last week. But I had been listening to Get Rich Lucky Bitch by Denise Duffield Thomas, and it just really ignited something in me. And I'd listened to it before, but there's something to be said about timing. And so I'm in my sister's driveway. I'd just driven 2 hours. I had 2 cups of coffee that morning and a water. So I'm like about to pee my pants, but, and I had the heated seats on, which is always kind of dangerous, especially at this age, but whatever. So I'm sitting in the driveway and I didn't even like do captions or anything, but I was like, at the end of this month, I'm going to increase my retainer cost by 17%. I was like, I am being called to help people get rid of their visibility blocks and to get out there and to do the things that they're supposed to do and make the impact they're supposed to make. Because if you're not selling and you're not putting yourself out there and you're not fine tuning and tweaking how you're putting things out there, you're not going to be able to make the impact that you're supposed to make here. And some of that is like making like FU money so that you can support the causes you want to support. And the only way to take, or not take, the only way to have us women get into these powerful positions, I think, is money. And we can do it with integrity. We can sell with our hearts and we can sell in a way that we know is bringing more joy and life and value to other women. And that's what Karen and I do. Like we're basically like empowerment, that's what we want to do. We want to empower women to fill up as much space as they're here to fill up so that we have more say in what's going on. And we live in a capitalistic society. Like you can't get by in America. Like my parents used to, I was raised in the Air Force and when we lived in Germany, we would travel all over Europe. And there was a book like Europe on $6 a day. And yeah, this was back in the 80s, but like, could you imagine living anywhere? Like in the United States for under you can't even do, even if you have a camper, like you still have to hook up, like there's camper, like campground fees, and it's just, it's a part of life that you need to have money. And so, like, if you're able to marry up selling something that you truly believe in, that you can transform people's lives with, and that might just be like one of my favorite people to follow. She's an artist and she's like creating actual physical art. And she brings me so much joy. She does these time lapse videos, and I'm like, and it's like, going between the dumpster fire of stuff that I'm seeing, the news and everything, I see hers and I'm like, "Ah," it's like an exhale, and that brings me so much value. And so I think what Karen and I are trying to get to you is that if you're having a hard time selling, it is a mindset thing and you can work through it. There's so many books. I love this stuff. Like, and there's a lot of psychology behind selling, and there's persuasion, and but like you can persuade people in a way that's in alignment with your integrity because you know that what you're offering them is amazeballs. That's the word I got. That's what I got, Karen. Like,
I love amaze balls. And that's a good point. Like when you're persuading, like in a ethical way, you're just helping someone decide to do something they already want to do. Like you're not implanting a new thought or a new or being sleazy and slimy like we think of. Like if you never really wanted that car particularly, but that salesperson just pushed you and pushed you and pushed you into it, basically drew up the paperwork while you were still thinking about it, and now you went home with this car that you didn't really want and you're like, "Oh, I got bamboozled." Like that's a whole different thing versus like when I buy a car, I'm the easiest. I'm the easiest person to sell to, by the way. It's horrendous, like how easy it is to sell me something. But when I go to the car, I mean, now it's this is a bad example probably for like current. I have to think back because now I just have my guy at Lexus, and every 4 years I'm like, lease is up, new one. But like back when I first started like buying cars, like I literally just would sell myself. Like I walk in and I'm like, that one, let's go. Like I was the easiest. No one even had to lift a finger. Best commission ever. But like it's just you have to think about like your experiences with sales. Like when you think of sales, what are the first things here? Here's another one of our favorite things, right? Journal, get your journal. And just like when you first think about it, like what comes up, like write all that down. Just like think about like what are my thoughts about this? What are my feelings about this? If I'm not selling every day, why? Like literally, why? Ask yourself why and write it down. Like what is the reason? Is it I think nobody's gonna like it? I'm connected to so many people from my high school on Facebook and I don't want them to see what I'm doing now, so I don't want to post it on there. Like literally write whatever comes up and just think through that and then we can keep talking about it in this series and give you some more tools to actually implement and move past it, but you have to dig in. It's uncomfortable. Look at yourself in the mirror while you're doing it. If you really want to be uncomfortable, stare at yourself in the mirror while you think about why am I not selling every day? And then see what comes up. And you might have a lot of emotion that comes up. I'm just going to warn you. This is an embodiment tool, but it's just like you have to just dig so that we can excavate and we can build a new belief and new ways of being so that you can show up and you can sell and you can change the lives of the people that you're meant to serve. And you can, also build a great life for yourself, right? You get rich by helping other people get rich. Not rich in money, just well, it can be money, but just a rich life, whatever that looks like. If it's health, wealth, relationships, whatever your niche is, like your life is enriched as you enrich the lives of others.